Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, to Studio Q. Oh, wait, Q. We know that's special. Hey, welcome back. It is the zoo, though, and here we are at the Prepared Mind channel, and I tell you what, we're going to have one heck of a good time tonight. I want to hear what you guys are thinking up here. There's some incredible good stuff. There's some incredible bad stuff. There's some unbelievable stuff and stuff that I just can't believe based on history and facts. I want to know what you're thinking. This is the Prepared Mind channel. Share the internet address. I don't care if you're on Facebook, YouTube, X, BitChute, Bitcoin, Bit whatever, and you know, Twitter, wherever the hell we're at and you think you're at. If you're watching me, I want to know what you're saying in the comments. Now, on Facebook, thepreparedmind.club, YouTube, and of course X, your comments in the comment section will go to Uman. If you've got something to say, if you have a topic that you need to get off your chest, or if you've got a special angle, something you're looking at, hit that super chat button right up there, and we'll get you on the screen. We will make you famous. Now, every show, well, every Sunday Night Live, that is, because we're here Monday through Friday as well. Every Monday through Friday, got a shot glass. And a few of you like to do $50 or more super chat donations, and your donations, well, they keep Spam and tuna fish on the shelf. They keep rice and beans on the shelf to make sure that we keep the lights on, the servers paid for, the hardware paid for, the software paid for, the updates paid for, and all the information we gather from the four corners of the world, well, including many of you who contact Jolene or Uman through our webpage at thepreparedmind.club. It is an incredibly difficult job, folks, no doubt. Coming on here every single day, except for, well, Saturday. We take the Saturday off. And but we're back Sunday and then Monday through Friday with Uman. He is here, well, some would say religiously, but he's not religious about it. But we're all here because this is a mission. It's a mission for us, and I want to thank you guys. You do keep the lights on and keep me coming back. So to start the show off, normally we kick it off with our good friends Darcy T and Chin Music. And I'm going to sneeze. Uh-oh. And ouch. That hurt. So let's do this. Let's start off with Chin Music and his comments and thoughts. I believe Uman has them. We can get them up on the screen. And again, it's your show on Sunday Night Live. I mean, I've got a ton of stuff to talk about. Current events, what's happening, what's going on. But it's really Sunday is about you. What happened last week? What's happening next week? What's happening right now on the weekend? In all cases, right? Plus there's looking way back in history, and then there's looking far into the future to try and understand what is going on. So let's do this. Mr. Uman, do we have Chin Music's ready to pop up? There it is, kapow. And Chin Music has done a $52.43 super chat donation. And again, this is one of the few shows, in fact, we think we're the first to do single malt scotch. Glenlivet 15, got a relatively new bottle here. And whoa, poured that scotch. $52.43 worth. I want to thank you, Brother Chin Music, for taking care of the show, taking care of me, making sure my jaw is lubricated, and of course, giving me topics like you won't believe. That's a good start to any show, if you ask me. Now, where was I going with this? This is your show. Let's get into it. From Chin Music. This is it, boys. I don't want to hear jack shit about evidence or hearings. This is the ball they can't fumble. If they do, the Republic is gone, and so am I as a supporter. Right? The evidence is everywhere. Trump and numerous aides were arrested on fake, made-up bullshit. That'd be Trump, Bannon, Peter Navarro, General Flynn, Roger Stone. That's just 5 of the people who are arrested out of the Trump administration and close allies that were arrested for fucking nothing. But Chin Music says they were arrested on fake, made-up bullshit. This is real. Grow some balls and send Gay Barry to a woman's prison. He will still get his ass kicked, and he won't have schlongs to grab. Oh my gosh. Schiff goes down also. Don't tell me a thing until there are arrests, criminal prosecutions, and convictions resulting in hard time, up to and including the penalty for treason. The penalty for treason is death. Now, let's start, if we can, Mr. Uman, put the first comment back up, and I'll start there, and we'll get into some of the details about Mr. Chin Music's thoughts. He says, this is it. You bet it is. You bet it is, right? And he says, I don't want to hear jack shit about evidence or hearings. In other words, we don't need a committee. We don't need hearings. We don't need congressional investigations, right? This is it. This is it. They have all the evidence. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has provided the actual evidence to Pam Bondi, and hopefully it's not on her desk. Hopefully the FBI isn't storing it with the Epstein files, right? The Hunter's laptop. Good golly, that's a good scotch, right? Also, who else's laptop? Oh, Anthony Weiner, that laptop. Oh, all of Hillary's emails, all of Podesta's emails, all of Obama's emails. Looks like Susan Rice was writing emails to herself. Why would someone do that? I can tell you why. I don't know if you heard about that, but yes, Susan Rice, former high-level Obama aide and communist supporter, she was responsible for implementing a lot of Obama's communist ideas. She was writing emails to herself. She's not crazy. You know what she was doing? I'll tell you what she was doing. She and Obama and whoever else had access to her email could log in, and they would write each other, and it looked like she was writing to herself. That way you don't know who else is on the party line, do you? Anyways, we don't need evidence. We don't need hearings. We don't need investigations from anyone else. What Tulsi Gabbard is piled on and is actually given to the public, it's out there in the public, are the actual crimes. Obama, you bet. You bet. Obama, top of the list. Right? Who else? James Comey. You bet. James Comey, FBI director, and Susan Rice and everyone else in the Obama administration that was in on it. But those names right there, they should have the evidence. All they need now is an arrest warrant, or they can go arrest them and say, we have the evidence. General Flynn, who is not part of the Trump administration. Good golly, John, wake up. Right? The arrest can just happen. They can just, General Flynn says, go take their passports. They're now a flight risk because the evidence is damning. Damning. It's not a little bit of evidence. It's all that's needed. Neatly boxed up, and she gave it to him. Gift wrap, bow tied. I think this is Tulsi Gabbard's way of saying, hey, Pam, are you sold out? Are you the stooge that John says you are? In fact, I'm glad that someone finally did the Three Stooges for Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, and Dan Bongino, because that's what they've acted like. This is their chance. So they can't, this is the ball they can't fumble. They can't, how do you not do this? Right? And if they do, the Republic is gone, and so am I as a supporter. Yeah. Right now, we all believe they had enough information on Jeffrey Epstein, but they wouldn't give us the information. They've hidden the information. They said it didn't exist. Then it existed. Then it didn't exist. There is a rumor out there started by some politicians in D.C. I think it was Dick the Durbin. And he put it out there that Trump had 1,000 FBI agents scouring the Epstein information to scrub his name and his associations. And so that is a weird one. It's like, well, give us the goods. Prove it, deny it, someone address it. They don't want to. How about all the pictures coming out now of Trump with young women? Well, he happened to own the Miss Teen USA pageant. So yeah, there's going to be pictures of him with young women, but crazy business, folks. Smearing, backstabbing, front stabbing. Right, it's going to get crazier this week. Now, back to chin music. Let's do the next page if we may, Mr. Uman. He says the evidence is everywhere. Yeah, it is now out. This is what they didn't want to happen. Interestingly, this is what they did not want to happen. This Obama Llama Shamalama Ding Dong, as Chin Music wrote to me in an email, this is what they're after, right? They can't get away from it now. So if they released and opened the actual Epstein files that includes the client's names, right? And there's information. What are the settlements with J.P. Morgan? And let's see, the British royal family and others who have paid hundreds of millions of dollars in don't tell money to people with lawsuits about them being molested by these rich fucks. They don't want any of that out because this is what will happen. We have now gone literally. Now, I think treason is treason. That's the fucking death penalty. We have the Epstein clients over here. Epstein clients, Epstein network, pedophile network, politicians, judges, corporate owners, bankers, royalty, domestic men and women, foreign men and women, Mossad, Israel, MI6, doesn't matter, right? Actually, it does. It's not going away. But treason is the death penalty. Now, I know we all agree that pedophilia should be the death penalty. And maybe it will for some of these people if they can establish that people were murdered in their games that they play. Because it's more than just sending little girls to an island. It's more than just molesting them. It's more than just raping them. There are allegations of murder, satanic ritual abuse. There's allegations of the hunting game, which is the red shoe game where they send the kids off, right? They strip them naked, run them through forests, woods, whatever, jungles, and then they go hunt them. It's just the weirdest fucking thing. It's the sickest thing. But if it's true and we find out, it can never go to rest. The fact that Obama is now in the hot seat with James Comey, Brennan, Susan Rice, and the whole gang, right, which can include everyone, including Hillary. A Schiff was part of it, pushing the Russia collusion bullshit. Oh, yeah, right? But if they can do that, if you can get Obama, then you can get the Epstein list out, unless Trump's on it, unless it really is Trump, unless Trump is a part of it. Right? They're making all kinds of claims, pushing Trump in a corner, saying, we know you were best friends with him or good friends with him. Right? He claims to have that. Right? So this is what we wanted. Clean out Washington. And we don't care who the criminals are. You all get to go to jail if you're involved. Period. Just absolutely period. No one gets to win. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Chin Music, for setting off the show at this. Yeah, this is it. This is the only thing they could have done that could have made us put Epstein on hold. Now, remember, nothing is happening with Epstein right now. They're still trying to hide it, make it go away, ignore it, pretend like we don't care, matter. They're going to get us some court records. Now, that's not the list. That's not arresting people. They have to do those things. But in the interim, they're going to try and show us how law-abiding the administration is. What's going to happen is if they don't arrest Obama and James Comey and John Brennan and anyone else involved. Remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, Chris Wray and Ruby Rod Rosenstein? Remember those names? They're still alive. They're still out there. They're still part of this. Still treasonous. Still treason. And if you remember Peter Strzok, the evil elf, in his testimony, he said there were people below him, section chiefs, bosses on every floor, everywhere that were involved in this. Now, interestingly, Tulsi Gabbard went on mainstream media today and said there are affidavits being written and signed coming out of the FBI from agents who witnessed and understand what was going on and have tested. An affidavit is a sworn legal statement of fact. It is witness testimony. As Chin Music said, they have it all. Now they have signed affidavits from witnesses who know the crimes that were taking place. What does that tell you? Tells me everything I need to know, that they don't need to do investigations. We don't need any blue ribbon fucking panels. And if the government does not take action, if the Three Stooges don't do anything, the Republic is absolutely fucking lost. No more excuses. No more wait. No more hold up. This is it. This literally is it. And we still have the Epstein issues right here next to us waiting. Those are not going away. I'm not going to be silent about it. I know you guys won't. Everyone won't. You cannot let people who harm, rape, and murder children run around. It doesn't matter how powerful they are. If they don't do this, if they do not prosecute Obama, right? That means arrest, indict, arraign, courtroom, trial, verdict, sentencing, carry out the sentence. If they don't do that, they're not going to do anything with Epstein, with the Epstein clients. Those are actually, in all truth, lesser crimes than treason, believe it or not. But they are crimes against the innocent, and they are not forgivable, cannot be forgotten, cannot be pushed aside. They have to go through with it. Anyways, if you got something to say, super chat donation right up there. Ooman is in the house. He says, even liberal news radio in Chicago was talking about it and demanding it be released. Epstein or the Obama? Yeah, Epstein. So, hey, the liberal news is now onto it. And that's why Trump is like, if you guys are so stupid that you're going to listen to what the Democrats are falling for. It's like, dude, you were so stupid that you were pushing it years ago, too. For years, you, President Trump, have been talking about the Epstein files, your son, your staff, your cabinet, your family members, everybody. So how stupid were you in your position of power, with your connections, with your sources of information? You couldn't figure it out, Mr. Trump, until you were president? How the fuck were we supposed to figure it out? Because I ain't buying it. Because I ain't believing that story. It is not a hoax. It's not a fraud. It's real. Now, having sat in this chair with you guys since December of 2013, having sat here, I've got to tell you, I've witnessed what social media has done, or what has been done to social media as a consequence of these mind-blowing facts coming out. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. The Podesta emails started the Pizzagate Comet ping pong exposure to the world of this entire pedophilia network. And it brought out Epstein. This is all during Trump's administration. And social media came down on me and everyone else like a ton of bricks. Ton of bricks. Back then, you could make an actual living off of social media. That's right. Revenue, advertising revenue was fantastic. You could make like 5, 10, 20 bucks a video. It was incredible. Everyone was doing it. Cat videos, cats with yarn, right? All this stuff. They scrubbed that. And then they started scrubbing our channels of all the information. You won't find anything on YouTube about Sandy Hook, the Boston bombing, school shootings, 9/11, right? They used to have all that shit. It's gone. Everything about Pizzagate is totally scrubbed. James Oliphant, the freezers, right? The kill floors, the slaughter rooms. True or not, gone. Everything's gone. And they were hoping it would just go away forever, but it has not. Now, let's do this. I'm getting a little thirsty. So we've got Darcy T, another weekly super chat contributor to the show with great topics and questions. Well, a lot like, well, Chelsea of the Weerungs and Big Dan the Man. And we've got so many people. Shit, now I blew it. Now I got to remember everyone, right? You know, I really blew it. I shouldn't have said any names because then I'm going to forget everyone else's name. We got Boomer and we got Blue Court Devil and oh my goodness, we got Bonnie Blue and we got Robin. Right, we got everybody. This one's from Darcy T. $50 super chat donation on PayPal. Thank you, Darcy. Let's get this down the hatch. Salut, Prost, cheers. That'll cure a cold. All right, so Darcy T says, it looks like Trump's image is getting a bit tarnished as of late as he turns on his base. Let's continue. I'll read her whole thing, then come back and hit each point. And then you guys out there, we've already got some super chats going. We got some good conversations in the comments section. Please join the crowd because your thoughts, your comments, your sayings, your perspectives matter to other people who are watching the show, waking up. A lot of us have been here for decades, some for years, some for a few months. Some people just woke up. They don't need to be laughed at, made fun of, crapped on, or anything else. Just help them wake the hell up so they see where we're at. There's a lot of catching up to do for those folks. Now, so Darcy says, looks like Trump's image is getting a bit tarnished as of late as he turns on his base. What do you suppose the globalists have up their sleeve? Will they try and rally for support or just dump us because we've served our purpose? Well, Trump's image has been tarnished because for years he has talked about the Jeffrey Epstein list. Trump never promised to be Ronald Reagan. He never promised to be George Washington. He wants to be the most famous U.S. president ever. But you don't do that by saying your base is stupid, your base is ignorant, stubborn, ungrateful, and not needed. Yeah, he has done the tarnishing, right? Everyone in public light, they tarnish themselves, right? Now, let's just say I robbed banks, and I don't. Let's just say I did, and one day I'm sitting here and I get caught. People would be like, geez, who ruined John's image? Everyone's like, he robbed a bank. He did it himself. Trump is doing this to himself. He made himself out to be a law and order, truth and justice, America first, make America great again, right? I care about America. I'm so rich. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm so rich. No one can buy me. I'm so rich. Well, they've gotten to him, right? Or something. But he's done this to himself because he said he would be the good guy. And you don't forgive, forget, and allow to persist a scourge on the world. no matter who's doing it, no matter how elite and powerful, you don't allow that. The death, destruction, attack, harm, murder, rape of children. Good golly. So he's tarnished himself by covering from them. Covering, period. Oh, it's a hoax, John. Don't you know? Really? It's a hoax that has evidence. They got Ghislaine Maxwell put in prison. They got Jeffrey Epstein put in prison where he hung himself. That type of hoax, that's a hell of a hoax. That's a hell of a hoax. It's not a hoax, folks. It's real. So you ask, yeah, well, he's turned on his base. He came after us because we are not stupid. We're not lemmings. We're not retarded. And perhaps Trump thought we were. Thought that we're so enamored with him that we could look past egregious sins and horrible mistakes. I don't think so. You don't look past that kind of stuff. So he's turned on his base. So then the question from Darcy is, what do the globalists, that would be the World Economic Forum, that'd be England, Israel, Europe, right? That'd be MI6, Mossad, CIA, the World Economic Forum. If I didn't mention them, I'll mention them again. And then they all are comprised. They all make up the New World Order, aka the deep state. The deep state. What do they have up their sleeve? Well, on Trump, right? What do they have? How are they controlling him? Right? What do they have? Well, they can do anything they want now with information, folks. You can, and I've seen them. You can make fake pictures of everyone using artificial intelligence. You can make fake or artificial intelligence videos, called deep fakes, of anyone doing anything, including committing crimes. So they could manufacture evidence against you, me, or Trump. They could burn Trump, right? They could burn Trump. Maybe they promised to burn him and his family. Maybe they threatened that they could kill him, his son Barron, his wife, his other children and grandchildren. Not hard to threaten them, right? Hell, they killed President Kennedy in broad daylight, in public, during a parade procession, right? Killed him in front of God and the world. So, yeah. But the question comes after this is, well, if they can't do that, if they all get exposed, will they, meaning the globalists, the New World Order, the scumbags, will they do things and try and get us to support them? Or will they dump us because we served our purpose? Well, let's start with, how would they try and rally the world to get behind Trump or the World Economic Forum or the European Union? Well, they could do that by causing a nuclear war. They could do a nuclear attack on Europe or England or even Israel and make everyone forget about this and then keep them, scared, consumed, confused. That's what they could try. It'd have to be pretty horrifying, right? To get us to rally and support. Say they collapse the economy and the stock market, right? They just totally let it just take a shit. That wouldn't get us to support them, right? So they would need something that we would all be for. Right? Whoa, we have to put all of our differences aside. You mean like you guys are fucking scumbag criminals? Really? We're going to put that aside because of what? Because the aliens are coming, right? And we don't mean the ones from Mexico. We're talking about the ones from Mars or Jupiter. Right. But I think it would be more likely that they would dump us. Dump us. They would incinerate us. Kill us. I don't know, turn 5G towers up so hard that they just cook us all. Right? Poison us with water, poison water. How about just poison the food supply? Or just cut off the electricity and let us get so upset that we kill each other. Right? They could do that. And there would be no government to go after them. They could just get away with whatever they want because they think, folks, and this is something that's been going on, this whole let's kill a big percentage of the population, the Georgia Guidestones, which are no longer there. Don't worry, there's plenty of records to show what the elites had in mind, right? The euthanasiasts, that is to say, families, powerful people, have wanted to kill off anywhere from 80 to 90% of the world's population. They've been trying and asking for that since the 1800s. So not the last year or the last decade. Over 150 years, these people have been trying to stop world population from growing. Literally saying it's okay if they kill everyone off because the earth doesn't need that many people. No, the elites don't need us. They now have artificial intelligence computer systems. They have the technology. It's stored in computers and they can recreate it. They can make robots. They can make drones. They can attack us. But they need some people to mine the materials, to do the farming, right? They got to keep some of us alive. But for the most part, they can let the world take an absolute shit and wouldn't hurt them a bit, would it? They've got their mansions. They've got their bunkers. Hell, Catherine Austin Fitts, who used to work for the federal government at a very high level, says that the feds have stolen $21 trillion. It's not hard to believe considering how much we're in debt, but they've stolen that much money from us, and they built deep in the earth underground bunkers and cities with that money. And there's a lot of information that is available to us to support that idea. They're bore tunneling machines, they're excavation projects, truckers who literally drive truckloads of whatever materials and food they have deep underground, down underground highways to giant storehouses. Yeah. They could just dump us, go into hiding, and let us all go to shit. It's a weird world, I'm telling you. Anyways, let's do this. I want to continue and move on and hit some other topics. What are you guys thinking of? What's on your mind? You got to hit the super chat button. It's right up there. Hit that. We'll get your questions on the screen. Man, Jolene, let's have some more fun. It is Sunday Night Live, and it's time to go. We got Nancy Kegg, and she's here every week as well. Didn't mean to miss you, Nancy, with a $20 super chat donation. And she says, for all the topics tonight and the spam. Oh, you bet. This is incredible. Thank you, Nancy, for the great support. Once again, without you guys, this show doesn't happen. I'll be out Ubering or delivering food or working at Home Depot. I'd rather not. I'd rather be here with you guys. So thank you, Nancy. And here we go. Tulsi Gabbard. She is the Director of National Intelligence. She was a Democrat. She was a Democrat presidential candidate who got shit on. She has served honorably in the military. She's Hawaiian. So she has an interesting concept that I don't agree with called gun control. She's a Democrat, gun control. So I don't like her. Don't like her for president. But if she wants to be concerned with national security, national intelligence, she's the DNI, right? Director of National Intelligence. She has been stalwart in this position. And she was attacked virulently during her confirmation hearings, but they couldn't, because her record was spotless, do anything to her. In other words, I don't think she was compromised. I don't think she was part of the club. And so she has taken away already Barack's security clearance, Susan Rice's security clearance, John Brennan, all of the 51 or 52 intelligence officers who were part of the Russia collusion, treason, wiretapping, government interference, violation of rights, interfering with a president of the United States, that kind of treason. She's done a great job. But what she said about whistleblowers is that, quote, they're coming out of the woodwork. Nancy, they're coming out of the woodwork. Right? And the whistleblowers are being described as disgusted. They helped create the Obama-Brennan Russia report, and they are turning over affidavits to the Department of Justice. Now, of course, the joke is hopefully they didn't show up on Pam's desk because she is horrible. But the reality is these affidavits coming from insiders, whistleblowers, are legally binding testimony. They are evidence of the crime in support of the other documentation. This week, we're going to find out, okay, does Pam have to review it all? Right? Do they need to remove names to protect the innocent? No, sorry, it's already out here. We already have the information. We see the treason, right? Documentation from the government, we see it. And these whistleblowers who helped create it probably realized after the fact that what they were doing was participating in a crime. To what extent they're responsible, I couldn't give a shit. I want the big people. I don't want the little ones who typed it up. I don't want the little one who emailed it or put it in a fucking envelope. No. I want the people who are responsible for it. Did you know, by the way, that Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, during Joe Biden's presidency, spent, I think, over 250 days out of 365 a year at the White House. At the White House. He was the White House. Who do you think was running the fucking country if he was there that often? Oh, yeah. It's coming out. Tulsi Gabbard, who has done a great job. The only one I like in the administration more than her is Pete Hegseth. But she's actually done a fantastic fucking job. Congrats. Kudos. Now let's see if Pam Bondi and Crash Patel and Dan Bongino, let's hope that they can stop being the Three Stooges. Let's hope they can stop being the Keystone bumbling ass cops. And let's hope they can actually do their job. And I don't care if CNN is there at 5 or 6 in the morning when they make these arrests. I just want the arrests to happen. Barack, who, by the way, lately went into a media interview and said, oh, yeah, boys need to have homosexuals in their life as friends and mentors. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see how that could help any child, especially a boy, realize what it takes to become a man and be a man. In any event, thank you, Nancy K. Great super chat donation. Great topic. What's on your mind? What do you guys want to talk about? Woo! Sunday Night Live, folks. This week is going to be nuts. It's going to be hot as hell here in Florida. Sunshine State, you bet. I think they make the sunshine here and send it to the sun and share with the world. We're about a mile from the sun sometimes. All right, Uman, Jolene, who's up next? We got Boomer checking in with a $20 super chat donation, keeping the lights on, keeping us going. He says, if Trump really was like Flint with Epstein, in like the Flint, meaning tight, then he's right up there with Pedo Joe and Barry Obumbum, other than his MAGA movement. Yeah. Now, like I said, there were videos coming out. Like a lot of these where we got still photos. Now they're letting the videos out. Epstein and Trump walking around at parties. And I'm looking at pictures of very young women, obviously minors. But again, he owned a beauty pageant and on airplanes and in buildings. Yeah, of course. If he's part of this, he's probably taking celebrity pictures, endorsement pictures, promotional pictures. But, they were all well-dressed. But appearing in video, in photos with Jizzy Maxwell, Epstein's partner and cohort, daughter of Mossad leader in Israel, right? And Epstein himself walking around, chummy, 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 chummy. Well, I get it. This is what happens when you hobnob with other big shots. Yeah, Epstein was a big shot in New York. I believe he had like the largest apartment, personal residence in Manhattan. Is that correct? And then, right, you've got, well, you don't have to be anybody big to be a big shot. Comet Ping Pong Pizza Shop in Washington, D.C., the owner who was tied up in that Pizza Gate, right? Pizza and hot dogs, child molestation. The owner there, James Oliphant, was registered or listed in the top 50 most influential people in Washington, D.C. A fucking pizza shop owner. Really? It just goes to show you that, look, Epstein isn't the only one. P. Diddy isn't the only one. And Comet Ping Pong isn't the only one. I am certain because Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, as president, had a $70,000 pizza and hot dog party at the White House, and they imported their pizzas and hot dogs from Chicago. It's a lot of pizza and hot dogs, folks, unless they brought in a couple of children to have a party. These are some sick fuckers, folks. Sick fuckers. So, yeah, Boomer, you're right. If Trump was in like Flint, if he was good buddies with Epstein, then, yeah, he's just like Sniffy Pedo Joe, who liked to take showers with his underage daughter, who was like 12. And then you got Barry Obama, right? Barry Soetoro. And his pizza and hot dog parties. And his wife, who looks like she could have her own sausage party. And the fact that it looks like they bought their children and their whole lives are manufactured fake bullshit. Right? Yeah. The Make America Great Again movement was a slogan if Trump is in with these guys that tight. Or if they're trying to frame it that way now. They could be trying to frame it that way. I'll tell you what, Trump, you play the cards that are real and let their cards fall where they may. I don't give a shit if they lie about you, Mr. Trump. That's not our problem, right? You can sue them. If they've got a sworn affidavit that you, Mr. Trump, are a bad guy, then you sue them in court. You have your prosecutors go after them for perjury if it's not true. But there's videos, right? Evidence of all these people and their sex crimes against children. There's videos, pictures. There is sworn testimony from victims. And that stands. That doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need anything else. I mean, literally, the investigation is over. It's over. We know the answer. They're guilty. Go get them and arrest them. But we're going to start with, apparently, Obama this week and see if Trump can make it. Maybe Trump, they're going to paint Barry as bad and evil and a liar. So anything they say about Trump, he's going to be like, he's lying. I don't know. But we're going to get to this before the end of the show. You're going to hear everything. Everything. Boomer, thank you, sir. And you're always here, always supporting the channel and sharing and spreading the message. It's not just me. I'm not an influencer. I'm just John on the Prepared Mind channel. But it's not just me or any other show host. It's all of you guys that drive this content, these discussions. Right? It's all of you guys. No channel would exist. No YouTube, no X, no mainstream media unless people watch. So it's you guys that drive this content. Thousands of people will watch this video. Right now, we got 300 people live. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. Super important. Be sure and share the internet address. Or if you're on X, hit the share button and share it with friends, family, co-workers, and even people you hate. Right? Because we're going to discuss all this stuff. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be brought out in public. It needs to be resolved. Now, I was asked a question, and I know we got super chats coming up. Boy, this stuff is working. The subject matter has to come out. It just has to. Right? We can't hide this stuff. You can't just let it go. Right? There's so many angles on this, and right. It has to happen. I was asked the question, well, what if the government does nothing? What if they continue to do nothing, I should say? Well, we've got another problem then, don't we? How do we get justice? Well, the whole reason governments are instituted amongst men, and that is covered in the Declaration of Independence, and it's covered in the Constitution, right? In order to protect people from others, from other governments, how to protect a country from invasion, governments are instituted amongst men to protect their rights, to protect their individual liberties, their rights to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, property, freedom to travel, do what you want, go where you want, make a living, all those things. Government is supposed to protect us. And when they stop protecting us, then people have to take the law into their own hands. It's called vigilantism. And it is not illegal. Well, wait a minute. Did I just say that? There are several instances. Let me say this. Several instances around the country throughout history, and indeed around the world and throughout all of history, where governments, whether they're democratically elected or some kind of republic or maybe a dictatorship or a monarchy, when the government, whatever form it takes, refuses to protect people, children, men, women, businesses, when they become tyrannical, despotic, when they become mafia-like and that they're criminal and they don't do their jobs, guess what? The people take it into their own hands. In the United States of America, we have close to 1 billion guns, handguns, rifles, shotguns, etc. And then plenty of ammunition to go with it. So at times in history, Americans have gone to local governments, arrested sheriffs, mayors, councils, the police. They arrest them. They hold their own trial, or they hold them and say, state, you come and handle this. These are fucking criminals. We have all the information. And I can tell you every city in America has criminals in the government, whether it's the mayor or the council or the county, whether it's the DA's office or the police people. Every city has crooked government people because they think they're above the law and that they cannot be held to account. They can't be held responsible. But at times when government fails, people do it. And guess what? Those townsfolk, they don't get arrested for doing their job, their duty, because right here in the Declaration of Independence, it says when a government does not do its job, the people have a right, the people have a duty to get rid of that government and institute one that will protect them. And that includes children from rapists. Here's the sentence. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them, the people, under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to understand. So yeah, they better do something or it's going to get nasty with us. Now, as Darcy said, are they going to turn on us? Are they going to dump us? Are they going to try killing us? Are they going to shit and fan us? Are they going to attack the president, his family, and anyone that comes after them? Are they going to unleash a blackout, a bio war, a nuclear war? Is it worth living in a world where every day is a lottery and you don't know if you're going to be abused by your government or your children are going to be stolen from you and raped? Well, either by the big shots, the Epsteins of the world, the P. Diddy's of the world, the Comet Ping Pongs of the world, or are you going to be kidnapped by the local child protective services or the local police or sheriffs or some other constabulary group? Or is it going to be the feds that come in and arrest you and fuck you over like the January 6 people? Right? Or are we going to ultimately at some point have to stand up for ourselves? We will find out, folks. And that's what the government is afraid of. They're afraid of everything being fine, the lights being on, the food being in the thing, everything working just fine, but we get rid of them. And that's the risk. That's the threat. All right. Let us continue. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Folks, what a show. And it's, bam, Chelsea Weerung and husband checking in this week with a $49.99, which is $50. I'll add the last penny to make this scotch happen. A Glenlivet 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey, French Oak Reserve. And it's been one of my favorites for quite some time now. So, Chelsea, thank you for keeping the show going. And thank you for this whistle wetter. Semper Fi means always faithful, folks. Now, Chelsea says, happy Sunday. Husband and I would like to hear a topic of your choice. Cheers, and cheers to you, Chelsea and husband. Here's what I got. President Trump is coming out this weekend, and he's calling for prosecutions, folks. Prosecution? What? Trump is calling for prosecution of Epstein? No. Of Obama? No. No. Trump has come out and said, well, Adam Schiff needs to be prosecuted. Yeah, Adam Schiff does. That would be that pencil neck, bug-eyed, sphincter-mouthed, well, light in the loafers fruitcake of a liar who, while in Congress, was censured, which is they didn't remove him. They didn't throw him away. You're bad. You're bad, you fruitcake, Adam Schiff, for lying to the American people and lying to Congress about President Trump in his first term. Well, look, folks, they took a Republican in Congress. I think the crime was, or the concern was, he made $50,000. He misappropriated or something. They threw him out. But what has AOC been doing? Misappropriating money. Anyways, there's misappropriating going all over the country by government officials, like fat-ass Fannie Willis. Oh, yeah, there's lots of that. But Adam Schiff, he's no longer in Congress because he's now a senator. He's still the same old lying fruitcake who's good buddies with little black boys who end up dead. Right. And Anthony Bourdain is dead because he knew something, apparently. In any event, Trump says, well, they need to prosecute Adam Schiff for mortgage fraud. Fraud! Unbelievable. You know who else has been found guilty? Well, not by a court, not by a jury of her peers, but by the American public. The New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, it has been discovered that she has multiple properties, and she lied about how much property she has. She lied about where she lives as her primary residence. She lies about how many bedrooms or bathrooms or units are in her multi-unit family dwellings. All of these things are fraud and mortgage fraud. We were told she's going to be arrested. We were told she's going to be prosecuted. Pam Bondi, where are you? Pam Bondi, hello. Anybody, right? Anybody, come on. Where's Pam at? Hello, Pam. What's going on with Fannie Willis? What's going on with Letitia James? What's going on with, well, Adam Schiff? What's going on with Obama? What's going on with Susan Rice? What's going on with John Brennan? What's going on with Hillary? What's going on with all this crime and nothing happening? The bitch hung up on me. All right. So back to Schiff and Trump. Hey, Trump, if you think mortgage fraud is bad and worth prosecuting, you should learn what Epstein clients do to children. Remember how I said treason is the high crime? It's instant death penalty. Treason is death. Treason is capital. Treason is getting shot, hung, and electrocuted all in the same day. And well, below that is, well, Epstein and what they've done to children. The mortgage fraud is bad. You should have to go to prison. You should have to give up all your property. Now, out here in the real world, they have this thing called civil asset forfeiture. They'll just steal your fucking property and say, that's to pay for the crimes you committed. But these people commit crime after a high crime, after felony, and no arrests. It's interesting, though, that Trump wants Adam Schiff prosecuted. Trump is not out there saying Tulsi Gabbard's evidence that she's turned over for criminal referral, prosecution is what that means. He's not saying the Obama, Brennan, Comey, and intelligence services treason isn't a hoax. But Epstein's clients, a known multiple convicted felon of child molestation. But we're going to go after mortgage fraud. Anyways, that's the topic you got to pick, Chelsea. Thank you for the great support. Always appreciated, always needed here because, well, I hate to break this to you guys. Inflation is starting to bite my ass again. I don't know about you and where you're at, but inflation is starting to bite my ass again. I'm like, okay, I know things were going down. Now we've got the tariffs. I know that someone said, hey, Walmart prices are going up. I do not shop at Walmart. Walmart prices are going up, and the prices that they're blaming that on the tariffs. Turns out, in this case of Walmart, according to one report, those were non-tariffed items. They're just raising the prices. Good. Don't shop at Walmart. I don't. I drove by a Walmart the other day, and that's about as close as I get. All right. Wow. Okay, where do we want to go? Oh, man, Jolene, it's Sunday Night Live. We've got Dan, the man Erickson in here with a $10 super chat. Oh, he says, don't forget about Hillary Clinton and her Russia collusion involvement. Also, the 2020 election cheat. There was something afoot then, big time. Thank God Harris lost in 2024. Could you imagine? I'll tell you what, Dan. I've never forgotten about that bitch Hillary. Back in the 90s, when I first got red-pilled. You see, in the Marine Corps, I saw some things people probably shouldn't see. And I experienced some things people probably shouldn't experience. And I witnessed how people are treated and bad stuff can happen. You get sent places and bad stuff, right? But I wasn't red-pilled yet. I just thought, shit happens. War is hell. The military is not the same as the rest of the country. It's the military. But I got out, and I was working at a lumber yard. And this old man came around the corner. His name was Fred Newsom. He's passed away since. In fact, that was a long time ago. And he says, hey, man, did you know that the Federal Reserve isn't federal? It's private. I was like, geez, Fred, I had no idea. No. Well, why is that important? Did you know that the Federal Reserve was started in 1913 and it's not federal and it's private banks? And he kept talking about it. And I'm like, well, does that matter? He goes, you know what inflation does to the value of your dollar? Even back then, in the early 90s, it was about 95% of the value of the dollar was consumed through inflation. The value of the dollar dropping. Or the dollar here and the cost of goods going up. Inflation. He's like, we're being robbed. We're being stolen. And then he was like, do you know that taxes are illegal? And he went into this whole conspiracy thing. And I was like, whoa, man, there's a lot of stuff. So he was referring to G. Edward Griffin's book, and it's still available. And G. Edward Griffin is still alive today, I think. Still lecturing, still talking to people about the creature from Jekyll Island. How U.S. politicians, over 100 years ago now, 120 years ago, got together and screwed the world, started meeting and figuring out how they could introduce a banking system to the United States of America to steal everything they could. And they're successfully doing it. Right? And I got red-pilled. I woke up and I started reading books by Jim Marrs, who's done a lot of research into everything, right? And there's other books. The first book I bought, though, was En Route to Global Occupation by Gary Kaw. I think that's the title of the book. It might be on the bookshelf over here. I think I saved it just because it was the very first book I ever bought that had to do with this topic. But Tex Mars also wrote a book about Hillary, and it's called Big Sister is Watching You, I think. And Hillary Clinton. She has been dirty, not since Bill got elected president, folks. Oh, no. No, Hillary Clinton has never been charged with a single crime in her entire fucking life. I find that hard to believe. Well, during the 2016 presidential debates, Trump said, "You're a criminal. You should be in prison." Okay, Trump, why didn't you? She's never been convicted. Whitewater affair, right? She was doing insider trading back in the 90s, back when they used to prosecute government officials for that. Everything Hillary ever did wrong blew up in the Oklahoma City bombing. How about that? The FBI building was blown up and destroyed all the evidence that was going to be used in a couple of days against Hillary Clinton. Oh, how fortuitous of her. That the one attack was in Oklahoma City. Well, it just so happens to get her off the hook. But Hillary's crimes go way back into the 80s when she was the wife of Governor Bill Clinton in Arkansas. And she also worked in the Whitewater hearings. That's right. Hillary, the lawyer, was kicked out of working for the Democrats during Whitewater because she was unethical from her very beginning. And the fact that she stayed with and married Bill Clinton is astounding. And Chelsea Clinton, who's a criminal also, their daughter, looks a lot like Webster Hubble. You can look at all that stuff yourself. And man, Jolene, we've got a Cash App donation by William Hallman for $5.56. We'll be getting to you, William, shortly. Can we get that back up there, Dan the Man's thing? Thank you. I appreciate that. Hillary has been dirty from day fucking one, folks, all the way through. I don't think an honest thing she's done. The Benghazi affair, right? You're talking about Russia collusion, the 2020 election bullshit. How about the 2016 election cheat? They just didn't turn the machine up high enough to defeat Trump. They got shocked. They weren't prepared to attack him. So Obama did it. Anyways, folks, Benghazi, where people were killed, military special forces were killed at Benghazi. People died. And when questioned about it in the Senate, Hillary said, "What difference does it make now?" Yeah, they're all dead. They got fucking killed because you and Obama fucked it all up. Russia collusion involvement. That was by working with Steele, the Steele dossier, the Five Eyes, meaning New Zealand, Australia, Canada, England, right? All working in collusion and cahoots with the administration and the intelligence services in America so they could spy on you and me and us. That's right. You see, our government is not supposed to spy on me and you without a search warrant. So what they did was they paid these other countries to do it for them. There's nothing that says New Zealand or Australia or Canada or England and Ireland and Scotland or any other screwy ass government could get together. And Mossad and Israel. Oh, yeah. And they could invade our privacy. They could spy on us. They could secretly wiretap us. They could break the law and get away with it and then give our government, Hillary Clinton, the information to fuck us over. They did it to Trump, only they got caught. They were spying on Trump and got caught. They were spying on Trump and got caught. And then they covered it up. Then they said, no, it's a Russian, it's Russia. Russia. Right? Now, there is something afoot then big time, and it's still going today, Mr. Erickson. It's still going today. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. Now, when you write, thank God Harris lost in 2024, could you imagine? I can't imagine. I've got a great imagination, Dan, and it scares the hell out of me. What would have happened if that communist piece of shit, whore, and I mean whore, if she had won the election? If they had cheated enough for her to win. Well, we need to undo what once was, right? All their communist fucking Marxist slogans. She's a giant piece of shit. She was selling it, folks. She was selling it. She really was. Right? We would have socialism coming out our ears. We would have communist ideas, not to mention the continuation of the lesbian, LGB, right? Gay, binary, transgender. What else were they pushing, folks? It goes right back to Epstein, P. Diddy, and Comet Ping Pong, and every other pedophile network. They were trying to make it socially acceptable for pedophilia to exist. They gave it a new name. This is after all the homosexuals in San Francisco were singing that song about, we're coming for your children. Faggots. Literally. They pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. We just want to get married. We just want benefits for each other. We just want to have blah, 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 blah. We just want to be accepted. We just want to come out of the closet. We're going to be good, we promise. Oh, really? Well, they lied. Now, I know there are a lot of homosexuals out there that are not child rapists, that don't rape their own children, that are just homosexual. And that's great, fine. They're not in anyone's faces. They're not making demands. They're not lying, cheating, and stealing off the system. But it has gotten off the fucking hook. I'm going to say the other 95% of them are fucking lunatics and sick. They've been pushing the grooming in schools. They've been pushing drag queens in schools. They've been pushing what? Everything. Bringing kids to gay pride parades. And then the transgendering of children, the sterilization of them with puberty blockers and surgeries to change their genitals. That would have gone off the hook with Kamala Harris. And on top of that, they would have pushed, because this was coming. And I think it was, his name will come to me. He was a congressman out of Texas. I didn't have a lot of like for him. But he warned everyone that one of the things the Democrats wanted to do, Tom DeLay, his name was Tom DeLay, Representative Tom DeLay out of Texas, said that they want to legalize pedophilia, talking to the Democrats. And 15 years later, they're pushing it. They changed the name of pedophilia to MAPS. They didn't even want to use a real number of words, but it stood for minor attracted persons. They wanted to legalize pedophilia. And if Trump hadn't have won, that would be part of Kamala Harris's role, would be to step this other part up. Hell, this just last week, Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, did an interview, and he explained to the interviewee, he explained to them, I think boys need homosexual friends and mentors. Number one, what's a friend? A boy, meaning an underage man, does not need a full-grown friend. You don't need that. You need friends in your own age and social group, because you all develop together. And mentoring means teaching, setting by example. Hey, little Billy, you ever seen a grown man naked? You ever watch gladiator movies? Right? You ever been to Turkish prison? That's right out of Airplane, right? That's the captain of the plane talking to a little boy, trying to groom him, and it was a joke in a movie, but now it's real. Now Obama wants that. Yeah, we need him mentoring. Yeah, ever seen a grown man naked? Fucked up stuff. Remember, we're still looking for William Hallman out there for a 556 Cash App donation. All right. Anyways, yeah, I'm telling you, Dan. Anyways, great topic. I had to top all of this stuff because it's important. It is that important. It's not going away. It really isn't. Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Where do we go next? Where do we go next? Once again, William Hallman. Oh, wait, I got the question. I got the question. It's right here. I just had to open it up. Do the feds use asset forfeiture on illegal aliens? I don't know. That is a great question. Hey, John, are the feds using civil asset forfeiture against the illegal immigrants? What happens to the vehicles and property of illegal aliens after they are deported? My only thought is, in the absence of any evidence, what do we have left? Now, let's just take Jose Hernandez. I just pull that name out of the air. Jose Hernandez gets captured. He's been in America for 3 years illegally. He doesn't own a house, but he rents a house using your money, of course. And he's bought TV and microwave and couch and bed. And yeah, he owns all this stuff. He owns a car. That's right, he owns a car. But we're going to take Jose Hernandez and ship him back to El Salvador or Panama or Ecuador or Venezuela or wherever the fuck he's from. We're not going to pay to ship his television and his microwave. We're not going to pay to ship his clothing and his couch or his car back there with him. So I believe the government will have to confiscate it and dispose of it, probably through an auction system. So I don't know. I think, whether it's called civil asset forfeiture or just confiscation of items, owned by a criminal, or is everything just left there? And it's how do we say this? The homeowner just takes everything in the house, and it's like, well, it's like a renter abandoned the house. So they get the bed and the couch and the TV and the microwave. Okay, fine. Automobile, the state of California or the state of Texas or the state of New York or the state of Illinois or the state of Florida now has an abandoned vehicle. However, the states deal with abandoned property, right? They'll take it. So at some level, somewhere, William, I believe it will be taken, because we're not going to, I fucking hope we're not sending it back to their countries with them. Hey, thanks for coming to America. Fucking us over, stealing our shit. By the way, we're going to reward you by letting you keep it the rest of your life. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I would be shocked on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'd be like, that fucking figures. These people are morons. And they would give them that back. Anyways, great topic, William. Jolene, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? It is Sunday Night Live, and it's two-man. And he says, we need to demand the same level of evidence when accusing as when accused. Very much so. A lot of times we talk about things that are alleged. Okay, great, alleged. Right? The same level of evidence. So shall we talk about Obama and Comey and Brennan? The director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has bona fide evidence, government papers, highlighted and circled with arrows and lines and explaining how it works. And we have affidavits coming from people who, and affidavits are evidence. They're admissible in court. They can be called as witnesses. Right? That's all strong. It's all very strong evidence. And there can be people who testify against it to the contrary, right? It's up to juries to believe. But, when accusing Trump of being a pedophile, well, it doesn't look good when you allow pedophiles to not be referred for arrest, hidden from the public, right? We have no conclusion but to think you're in on it to some level or you're being threatened, right? So accusing Trump of being a pedophile, I can't do it because I don't have any evidence. There was one underage woman, when she filed a lawsuit, she claimed that when she was underage, that she was raped repeatedly by President Trump in a lawsuit, but that lawsuit is done. But it looks incriminating, but it's evidence. What kind of evidence? Is that bulletproof evidence, solid evidence, or is it fall kind of under, kind of hearsay in a way? Right? It's a lawsuit was started, but it didn't follow through. So let's see what Uman is speaking of specifically.
Where I was going was there's a lot of people that are choosing sides based on hearsay and accusations, but not real solid evidence. I mean, I feel like all of a sudden in the chat here, I'm like some kind of a Trump defender here or something, you know. And I've been one of the harsh critics. For last year, everybody's telling me, I'm anti-Trump and this and that. No, I'm not anti-Trump. I just want to demand the same level of evidence, whether you're accusing him of something or defending him of something.
Right. Up or down evidence. Otherwise, It's an allegation, it's an accusation, it's hearsay, it's bullshit, it's a rumor.
Again, and we haven't seen any of that. So, I mean, for all these people to come out and say, it's absolutely this way or it's absolutely that way based on no concrete evidence is ridiculous. My stance is down the middle, and I've got kind of a neutral stance on this. I mean, it's like, show me one way or the other. I'm pissed that he's talking about how things don't exist that he was campaigning on and everything else, but show me one way or the other.
Okay, so you're speaking specifically about Trump and Epstein.
Well, it goes beyond that, but that's where that conversation started. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I've got video evidence and I've got photographic evidence that Trump and Epstein are together, but I don't have any evidence that they were really friends, that they molested children or raped children or did anything together. I have no evidence of that, but it looks bad, but that looks doesn't mean anything.
Right. And, one of the comments made was that, if Trump was on the plane, he's categorically guilty. No, he's not. Because rich dudes borrow each other's planes and fly on each other's planes all the time. There's also the fact that, once Epstein got accused and indicted that first time, that Trump banned him from all his properties and everything else. So, I mean.
Now, here's the thing. That, to me, is hearsay because I've heard that he said that, but I've never seen any evidence that he did that. But that's positive. You could say it's someone's testimony, someone's saying that, but are they a reliable witness? Are they a knowledgeable witness? Do they have any proof of that? I don't have proof of that either.
Right. We've got nothing, and everybody is just taking emotional stances on this stuff and not looking at concrete evidence.
Yeah, it is hard because it is such an upsetting thing.
Yeah.
It is. Epstein was arrested. Jizzy Maxwell's arrested. There was a laptop from Anthony Weiner that had a file that was reported on the mainstream news and by government that said Clinton files, Clinton insurance. We had the all those pictures off of the other laptop of Hunter Biden. That's evidence that we all see and we have reliable testimony about. But beyond that, we're in the dark. What we're trying to ask for, of course, is let's have the evidence. Trump is not allowing it. That's where people get pissed off and get emotionally involved. And
it kind of reminds me of that old saying, it's easier to fool a man than it is to convince him he's been fooled. So many people have emotionally invested themselves so deeply in Trump and MAGA and all this other stuff that anything to the contrary just generates a visceral emotional reaction. Yes.
When we're promised something by someone we trust, right? What is trust based on, Oliver?
What is trust based on? I mean,
let's say you and I were in business, and we trust each other to do what we say we're going to do. Provide money, perform work, do all these things, right? There's a contract between us, right?
Yeah, it's based on a track record that we've built trust over time.
So Trump, we become emotionally connected to Trump through the shooting, through the campaigns, the shared suffering that we've all dealt with all of the Biden shit. We've all suffered under tax regulations, being attacked by government. So we felt this connection with Trump. And then he made promises as a political leader. And so we trusted him. And that trust has been broken. So it's not enforceable in court. So we have an emotional reaction. We were lied, we were screwed. And then now you're using emotions to argue it.
Yeah, it's also that confirmation bias, because on the other side, if you're a never Trumper and you hate Trump, any little thing that somebody says, you latch onto that proves that Trump's a bad guy.
Yeah, people want to be. They want to be right. Yeah, they want to be smart.
I don't know Trump. I don't know Trump. I don't know him personally. I can't vouch for him either way. All I can base my opinion on is stuff that I have seen and the way he's acted and things he's said and the things he's done.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of contradiction lately that concerns me.
Yeah. Well, he did attack us as supporters. He told us we're stupid. And that creates a very negative reaction, emotional. I get pissed. We're all pissed because we feel like we're lied to and cheated. We're being cheated out of justice.
See, I've never hitched my wagon to the MAGA train or the Republican train or the whatever train. So, I mean, it's maybe not so emotional for me because I never, invested myself that heavily in that. I mean, I like to think that I look at things objectively, and I look at facts and everything else, and make my own decisions. I mean, there's things that he says that I support and there's things that he doesn't. I mean, one of the things I was extremely pissed about was the whole Operation Warp Speed last time around.
Oh, yeah.
And I was saying at the beginning of this term, I don't think it's going to be any different than last time, and I hope I'm wrong.
Right. That's just it. Yeah, we hope we're wrong. We hope for the best. And, I've seen so many videos. What's that?
But we're all out of hopium.
All out of hopium. Now it really is, what are people doing? What are people doing in government that we can see and are believable? And in fact, we may not even get a believable resolution. Right. And again, they're going to call this a conspiracy theory, but Jeffrey Epstein, the guy that was on that gurney, his ears and nose didn't match the real Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't even really care about Jeffrey Epstein. I just want the people that participated in that brought to justice.
That's what I mean is how many, the Joe Bidens, which Joe Biden is the one? They can put up 12 different looking Joe Bidens and they say it's all Joe Biden. But it's not. There's no way it can be because ears and eyes and nose and this facial shit. So even if they said, okay, here's the 12 bad guys, and we're going to arrest them for being associated with and doing awful things with Jeffrey Epstein, are we even getting the real people? Are they fake people wearing a mask now? Now we're in that.
You know what? They've changed their stories so often and lied about so much. Even if they came out and told us the God's honest truth, half of the country wouldn't believe them.
The other, one half would still be thumbs up. The other half would still say, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Would America be satisfied with 100 mannequins hung by the end of a rope and showing a picture of that, while those 100 people leave the country never to return and live in some other country? America would buy that hook, line, and sinker. They're all dead. Yay. Children are safe.
Yeah, well, they bought the moon landing, right?
You see, that's just it.
That hecklefish? That hecklefish, Andy?
Yeah. That's the game we're gonna play. Is you can't trust anything. Like you said, they can manufacture video, audio, or pictorial evidence of anyone doing anything with artificial intelligence now.
Yeah.
It's
So,
unbelievable.
It's a sad state of affairs, my friend.
Mm-hmm. This is where technology has led us, and power. Crazy stuff, man. Shit has hit the fan. By the way, we're at 350 people live. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, folks. Be sure to share the internet address. It's right up there at the top or down below. Let's help people wake up. And yeah, and even though we're all emotionally engaged, it's our country. It's about children. It's about crime. It's about treason now. Right? I'm glad all this is coming out, but we need to be intelligent, objective, and critically think about everything. You can be pissed, but you still need to think. Don't jump to conclusions. You could injure yourself.
Yep.
Anyways,
all right. I'm hearing that we're getting some echo here, so I'm going to let you continue on, and I will turn myself off here.
All
Have a good night, folks.
Thank you, sir. All right, and we're back to the show. We're at 90 minutes into the show, folks. We're at about the hour and a half mark. We go about 2 hours on Sunday Night Live. This is your show. You get to pick the topics, the subjects, right? You can put your thoughts up, your theories, anything you want. Well, short of breaking the law, right, inciting violence, insurrection, but super chat buttons right up there. That's how you get right on the screen here, and we love to hear your thoughts because it's not for me. I get to learn from you guys, yes. But it's also for everyone else that just happens to stroll on by a Prepared Mind broadcast anywhere, especially the Zoo, Sunday Night Live, because it really is the things you guys want to talk about. And it shows people it's not just some ridiculous host cherry picking things he wants to talk about. And that's why during the week I do my thoughts and then I do your guys' thoughts, same way. But Sunday Night Live, I leave completely up to you guys, even though I have my own stuff, literally my own stuff right here I want to talk about. It is your show. It is. Right. And I can go all the way back to the very beginning of the show with Chin Music when he says, I don't want to hear jack shit about evidence and hearings. Right. That is all now settled with respect to the treason. And we have enough information about and evidence about the Epstein affair that people should be arrested. The government has it. We don't need more hearings. We don't need further investigations. We don't need an inspector general. We don't need a special prosecutor. We've played that game literally for decades, and it never, ever, ever leads to justice. It leads to a cover-up, exhausting the attention span of the American people, wasting our time, wasting our money. Adam Schiff has wasted like $50 million fucking dollars with his bullshit investigations on Trump. It's a shit show, and they're serving shit sandwiches, and we all get to take a bite. Let's have some fun. Jolene, who's up next? We've got, holy cow, Chelsea Weerung and husband. They're back. And would you look at that? You guys are participating in my healthcare program. That's right. 15 years scotch right here for a $50 super chat donation. I'll put the last penny in to get us to 50. Thank you, Chelsea and husband, for this. And she says it's to keep the lights on. By golly, we'll keep the lights on and keep me fed. My diet's working. I'm down to 265 pounds. I just wish that it would be just fat that melts off first. Anyways, folks, health. This is my health care. This is a pain reliever, antidepressant, muscle relaxer, and overall general attitude improvement sauce. Thank you, Chelsea. That is mother's milk right there. Nutritious and delicious. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Does Chelsea have an additional question? Or I tell you, let me do this. I'll pick a topic for Chelsea and husband. Thank you so much. Let's get into this. This is very important. This is critical to what we're dealing with as a country right now, even though it's not Epstein or Hillary or Barack or treason. This is something else, but it's associated. This is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has fired a senior military advisor of his, right? And this is just part and parcel to a continuing house cleaning at the Pentagon. So he's firing assholes, in other words. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. If there's any doubt, in my opinion, in government, whether it's the Pentagon, the State Department, Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the President of the United States and his cabinet, anywhere in any bureaucracy, the CIA, the FBI, if there's any doubt about someone's loyalty to the Constitution and to the oath taken to the people and the president and the Constitution, right? If there's any doubt, you fire people. Now, have no doubts, the treasonous scumbags, the backstabbing communist, anti-American scum in government, they'll fire you in a fucking second if you're not loyal to them. But if there's any doubt at this stage of the game, because of the trouble this country's in, because of the treason, and remember, General Milley, who was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, admitted in Congress that he told the Chinese military mirror of his, right, the guy who had the same position in China as he has in America, that don't worry, if Trump wants to attack China, we'll let you know about it. We'll let you know ahead of time. We'll make sure it doesn't. We'll screw our president over and protect you, China. Right? Those are the people there, folks. Right? So Pete Hegseth is absolutely right. You fire anybody. You always fire anyone because there's liars, there's leakers, and traitors, folks, have proven to be very effective at hiding, well, behind books, behind doors, microphones, listening devices, snooping, email hacking, and then they'll leak it to their political handlers, right? So if there's any doubt at all, they should be fired, whether or not there's evidence. If there's any fucking doubt, a change in attitude, you get fired. Now, Pete looks and performs, in my opinion, like a man who doesn't tolerate bullshit. He takes care of himself physically. He appears to take care of himself mentally. He looks the part. He looks like a Secretary of Defense. He looks like somebody who doesn't play fucking games, doesn't tolerate bullshit. So good. Keep the military about the military, for fuck's sake. Don't make it a social sexual experimentation like the Biden administration. Anyways, that's very important. People need to be fired in government all the time, if they're not loyal. And look how many people Pete has gotten rid of because they won't put the president's picture up on the wall. Like him or not, that's your president. That's the president. And you've sworn an oath in the military to follow their orders, their lawful orders, and obey the Constitution. And they're refusing that, and they should have been fired, and they are. Absolutely are. Anyways, Chelsea and husband, thank you again for the great super chat donation and, well, allowing me to pick a topic. Mr. Uman, Jolene, who's up next? We got them both working in the background, folks. And I tell you what, keep using your noodle. And it's okay to get pissed off. I've said this for years and years. It's okay to be pissed. We're human beings. Things piss you off. But let's not give up our intellectual prowess in examining information and going the right direction. This is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. Hit that super chat button right up there, or Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and we'll get your thoughts on the screen, just like Mr. Uman has done now. And he says, problem with causes is, meaning your cause is save the whales, Save the climate change. That's a cause, right? A cause. Well, we need to get a political opinion, right? The causes. Problem with causes is once they achieve their original goal, they can't just go away. They must demand more and more and more. Well, this is interesting because I don't know, pardon me, I don't know what caused you to put this topic. What is the topic that made you think of this? I can think of one. Government has become a cause to itself. It needs to perpetuate its existence and purpose. In fact, one of the things that all entities do is they want to proliferate. So government went from making sure the roads are safe, that people don't kill each other, that when a crime has occurred, they investigate and protect the people of the state, protecting us from foreign enemies, to now they control and try and regulate every facet of our life. Food, water, air, cars, electricity, your jobs, your life, your kids, your children, education, everything, right? Talk about something that demands more and more and more. That would be the government. Other things, right? The social causes, they are the same way. They achieve their goal and they try growing more. So anyways, yeah, it's very important to keep that in mind, folks. I am suspicious of everyone and everything. How about the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Fund, right? The World Economic Forum. You think it's just about a bunch of rich people sitting around wanting to be rich? How they screw someone over in the world of, I don't know, gold, iron, copper, manufacturing, trade. They're not happy with that. You would think the World Economic Forum, all these rich fuckers, would be happy being rich. Okay. No, the World Economic Forum, they're interested in population control. They're interested in pandemics and diseases. They're worried about everything else, including making lots of money, right? But they want to, everything tends to grow and grow. So the fight by you and me in our own lives, it's kind of interesting. We're the opposite, right? My cause is, well, protecting myself, those that I love around me, my family, et cetera, et cetera. But, right, regulations, taxes, demands, right, restrictions, we are getting boxed in more and more. In fact, they've even talked about 15-minute cities. That is to say, wherever you live, you need to be in a big city. They want to get people out of the country, except for, of course, you know, those people that are farming, what little farming needs to be done. And it's becoming more and more mechanized and robotic, et cetera. Fewer and fewer people needed to farm and get yield out of more and more acres. But still, 15-minute cities where you live in a city, you have a smaller and smaller living space to where they want people living in cubicles, tiny homes, if you will. The only thing you can afford is something very small, and you can't travel outside the 15-minute city without special permits. And there'll be social credit scores. Your money will be controlled, not by the government, but by private organizations, which donate money to the government for the authority to do that to you. And the government and private industry are like hand in hand. One hand washes the other. Oh, that's called fascism, where government derives its power from the people, but rewards corporations that in turn reward the government with campaign contributions, gifts, etc. Anyways, interesting topic, and it's not going to go away because right now there's a problem with AIPAC, the America-Israeli Political Action Committee. And more Americans are pissed off that why is it, they ask, we're sending more weapons to Ukraine? Why are we doing that? Why are we promoting a war that needs to end? President Trump just told several days ago, Russia, you got 50 days to end this war. Well, Russia's tried ending the war with peace treaties, but Ukraine doesn't want it. By the way, I believe King Bibi in Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, his family hails not from Israel. but from Eastern Europe, Belarus, Ukraine, that area. In fact, many of the people who live in Israel, they're all European immigrants that moved to Israel. In any event, they want that war to continue. They've got a problem with Russia. And so it looks like we're carrying their water, right? Interesting topics. And it all affects us because we're paying for it, right? We're paying for it. I tell you, what a world we're in, folks. We've got domestic problems. We've got international problems. We've got problems with our country, problems with our states, problems with our local government, problems in our own lives. And it's nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Right? We got to clean our own house before we can fix everything else. Let's do Dan Erickson. We just popped him back up on there. Dan the Man Erickson checking in with a $20 super chat donation. He says, what about these never-ending proxy wars we're in right now? I just mentioned one. How the fuck are we paying for this printing more money? Sick of all the war BS until boots on the ground in our country? From a foreign nation, I will not fight. And that's just it, Dan. See, that's why they need young people in the military. You are not a child. I'm not a child. We have our own lives. We have our own places to live, right? We're smart enough not to fall for their shit. So that's why they always go to young people. Young men especially want to prove themselves. They're coming out of school and an education. Now it's an indoctrination. And you want to prove yourself. You want to serve the country. You want to do what your dad, your brother, your grandfather, your uncle did and serve in the military in one of the branches and go kick some ass. Right? And it can be used as a start to get college money. Right? To get you on your feet, to acquire some life experience, whatever the reason for going in the military is, right? In addition to kicking the shit out of the nation's enemies, right? That's why they use young men. In fact, someone who's, and this is kind of terrible, but someone who's 30 years old is more valuable in the world of business than someone who's 20. Because they have more experience, more knowledge, more ability, more know-how. So they're less, I'm going to use this word and it's horrible, expendable. I came to realize when I was a Marine, young, that I was expendable. I was constantly being told, I'll have you fucking killed. I'll send you to this war, to that war. I'll send you to this theater of operation that no one's ever fucking heard of. Right? I think everyone now knows where Diego Garcia is, in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's called the Rock. Back in 1989, no one had a clue where that was at or what it was, what it represented, right? But yeah, back to you, Dan. These wars never end. You want to know why? Because companies like BlackRock, companies like Vanguard, these giant investment firms should be broken up because they're so powerful, they can tell a company, you will hire 5 fruitcakes and 6 minorities to sit on your board. And you need so many fruitcakes and minorities because we hate white people for some reason. Right? They want diversity, equity, inclusion. Right? Or we're going to dump all of your stocks, cause the value of your company to plummet on the stock market. But these companies, like BlackRock and Vanguard, have the ability to ask the government to go to war so that the companies they invest in, military industrial complex companies, they make money selling missiles, weapons, bombs, guns, trucks, planes, ships, components, electronics, computers, whatever, to the military that goes to a war zone and gets blown up. And then they have to buy it again. You see? And then to the country that's getting decimated, destroyed, they go in there. If they win the war, these same companies have these same investment firms like BlackRock, like Vanguard, have construction services that rebuild countries and their governments and their infrastructure and their military. Companies like Bechtel, Raytheon, McDonnell Douglas. How about Microsoft? right? So they get to destroy everything and get paid for that, and they get to be paid to build it back up again. War is profitable for them, while to us it's just a tax burden, right? Because you are right when you're saying we're paying for this. First, the government prints the money, and then they go, wow, we need Dan and Chelsea and Uman and John and everybody to pay for it. Boomer, Nancy, Chin Music, right? Darcy T. Everybody gets to pay more taxes, right? We get to work our ass off to give them money to replace the stuff they printed, but those dollars are out there, right? But Dan says he's sick of all the war bullshit, right? Until we're invaded, boots on the ground in our country, we're not going to fight. They won't come to us because we're too old, we know better, we're too valuable, but they'll go to children, young men, and say, hey, you know, we want you to come die for your country. People like, how about lighting the load for Lindsey Graham, the man who never saw a war he didn't like? How about John McCain, Senator McCain, who stood and posed for pictures? Not as a celebrity, not at a photo op, but with terrorists. And this pissed me off greatly. This is like 20 years ago. Posing for pictures with terrorists in Syria, in Jordan, those type of areas. Because, yeah, they've been fighting that Jordan war, folks, or at least, you know, not Jordan, Syria, going after Bashar al-Assad, that guy. But they had young boys, little boys, less than 10-year-old boys in cages, and they killed them, these terrorists. And then John McCain shows up in pictures with them. Oh, he's more than happy to go over there, land in that zone, take pictures with these terrorists, fund them. Don't forget, yeah, Benghazi was about taking weapons and sending them over to Al-Qaeda in Syria to fight, this bullshit war. We got wars around the world that they're just lining up, waiting to fight. They would love to fight with Russia and China, except that could get ugly really fast, and who knows who would win. You see, in order to get the other part of that contract, you get paid to blow shit up and then paid to rebuild it. If you lose, you only get half the deal. So only fight against small, little countries where you get to control everything and the outcome. That's what they want to control, is the outcome of the war. That's why they're fighting so hard in Russia. They lost a lot, so they're going to keep blowing shit up until they can win it back. Folks, we've got just over 10 minutes left. If you've got something to say, super chat button is right up here. And we'll get into what you want to talk about. It's incredible. I you know, there's something I want to talk about. Something that's been pissing me off a bunch. It just showed up this weekend. It's totally unrelated to everything else. Thank you, Mr. Dan, the man Erickson. We'll get you off the screen. And this topic is about racism. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Racism. Racism works both ways. I'll just start out with that. Racism, it works both ways. Meaning nobody should be racist. And anybody who is racist, right, they should be looked at closely to see if they're committing crimes. But being racist is not a crime. We'll get into this. A lot of people say it's a hate crime being racist. Is it? So at a work site, a construction site, the Tennessee Titans are building a new football stadium. That's right. But look out. Someone found a noose on the construction site. Work is now halted on the Tennessee Titans' new football stadium because a noose was found. A noose is a symbol of hanging people. Well, I'm going to ask, was it a noose or was it a loop in a rope like the Bubba Wallace NASCAR incident where in order to pull the roll-up door down, you have to grab a rope. In order to make grabbing a rope easier, you put a loop in it and pull on it, right? Turns out that it was investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were right on that stuff. Woo! The FBI solved that mystery. It was a pull down. It was a rope pull. And then back at that same time, at another construction site at a school, guess what they found? A noose. It was tied to a crane. No, wait. No, it wasn't a noose. It was a loop in the cable, because that's how you attach things to a cable on a crane to lift and lower things, right? So a noose doesn't represent a lynching of black folks, even though black folks have been lynched. That's the racial tie to this. But there have been a lot more white people, I believe, hung with a rope than anyone would care to imagine. And it's not about slavery, because white people have been enslaved. In fact, there were white slaves in America before there were black slaves in America. There are still black slaves in Africa and black slaves in the Middle East, as well as white slaves and sex slaves. In fact, in Libya, which was liberated from Muammar Gaddafi, during which the Benghazi incident took affair, you can now buy people in Libya. You can go buy a slave in Libya all you want. Now, so it's not about slavery. It's about bullshit. Now, so there is a loop. Let's just imagine that at the new football stadium being built for the Tennessee Titans, someone put a noose there. Who cares? Does someone feel threatened because they see a noose? I feel threatened because politicians like Jasmine Crockett, one of the biggest ghetto retards I've ever seen, who, by the way, got a great education and a great upbringing, but decided that she's ghetto, is racist. And she is in a position of power far more than a construction worker. You say construction worker and power? Not really. You have the power to pick up a hammer and beat nails, or form, make concrete forms, or bolt two pieces of steel together. Yeah, that's the power you have. Someone like Jasmine Crockett, she's invested with a lot of power, is she not? Oh, she is, right? Pundits on television. We talk about Joy Reid all the time. We talk about The View with those pigs. They're racist, and they have the power to influence a lot more than I do. Politicians, they speak through social media, they speak through TV, they speak through the microphone. They're very powerful, and they're racist. And, well, social organizers on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, they openly call for the murder of white people. They say white people are evil. They say Republicans are evil. Republican is code for white Christian man, by the way. Right? What they do on television from political office, like, well, the mayor of Los Angeles, you think she isn't a racist? What's her name? Bass? She's a dumbass if I ever heard of one. Right? We've got all these politicians. They're extreme racists. And they openly call for the elimination of, the removal of, the murder of white people. They say that white people are evil, that they need to be exterminated. That's direct incitement of violence and murder. So I ask this question at this point. Why is a chicken shit noose a big deal? Since only 100 people will see it actually see it and feel threatened. Maybe. Right? Versus television and the internet, and millions are going to hear, kill those white Christian men. This is going to continue, the race baiting division. This is one of the things that I think Barack Obama is up to. That if he is arrested, he is going to turn loose the racist bullshit. And the horrifying thing is every person is going to pick a side. They're going to become more tribal, if you will. Right now, Israel is being verbally accused of being genocidal for what's happening in Gaza. And so Jewish media personalities are out there saying, half the world hates us. Okay, well, the other half doesn't. You're doing pretty good. 50-50, not bad. Right? Well, does does the half that hate you, or what are they going to cost? So then you guys turn around and it is Israel, and then England, right? We're pissed off at England. Everyone's pissed off at each other, but it also comes down to your country, your state, your neighborhood, right? People getting pissed off, kind of like a leftist agitator blocked a bridge during an anti-ICE Immigration Custom Enforcement riot, because these anti-ICE people think that the government, the police, ICE especially, and the American people are racist for wanting to get rid of illegal aliens. And we're like, no, leave your emotions out of this. This is about them having committed a crime and coming here, right? So the Kentucky police, apparently with a violent protester, showed no mercy and beat the living shit out of this guy. Well, in a way, good, right? Right? If you protesters out there want to go to war, fight to win or die, but don't complain over what happens in war when you become violent and attack police, when you become violent and attack the people, when you become tribal and attack people for, I don't know, philosophical reasons, political reasons, or racist reasons. Violence is coming because divide and conquer is what the bad guys do. That's the game. When governments don't get their way, they become violent, and they'll force their way on you with guns or arrest. And then they try and seek to legitimize it with court. But that's what we want too. Don't we want law and order? We want people that are bad arrested. We want people to be given a trial and then go to jail if you're bad, or go free if you're not, right? This is where we're at. The system seems to be failing because the bad guys we know have committed crimes, they're not getting arrested. Other people are, other people aren't. It's becoming racist. It's becoming tribal. It's a lot of things. Look out is the key here, in my opinion. Look out, be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You don't know who you're going to run into. You don't know what situation is developing. They could pull the plug on us. They could turn us on each other. Being prepared. Chance favors the prepared mind. Jolene says we've got another super chat out there. Let's get to it and see who's up next. I want to thank you guys for keeping this scotch going just right tonight. Woo! But now, we got Boomer back with a $10 super chat donation. And he says Gaddafi warned that if he would be taken out, that Europe would be invaded by Africans, which is exactly what happened. Now look, Muammar Gaddafi, Colonel Gaddafi is what he called himself. He never made himself a general. Can you believe that? Muammar Gaddafi was the leader of Libya. He was called a dictator. Okay. He was called all kinds of things. Pineapple face, right? His face was very pocked with whatever skin condition he had, right? He was picked on. He was ugly shamed, right? He was kind of a weird dude by American standards or European standards, but he treated his people well. I think they had free healthcare, free electricity, free water. He messed up though. He started demanding that Europe pay him with gold for his oil. All he had needed to do was say, give me your euros, I'll buy gold. They'll ship the gold here, and you get gold that way. But he wanted to be paid in gold and start a gold currency called the gold dinar. And, he got wiped out. Europe stole his oil. But Gaddafi did warn. He made a lot of warnings. But yeah, Europe would be invaded by Africans. And the European politicians are the ones who invited it. Rather odd, don't you think? Rather odd. We're going to find out how this whole you need to have immigrations worked out. I remember being told there's too many of us on the world. We need to stop populating so much. There's too many people. We were told, stop having so many kids. We were told, we're going to have to raise the cost of having babies, raising children, raising families. Everything's getting more expensive. So Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Australians, everyone stopped having as many kids. And then the government comes out and says, we need more. There's not enough people. Who's going to do all the work to pay for all the retirees? Well, you governments, you stole our money. Taxed us. And then you spent the money you squandered it instead of having it in an account or investing it in some fashion or form that makes life for everyone better, and that you could pay a retirement benefit out of that. You know, if I wasn't paying Social Security, right, I'd have a whole lot more money that could have been socked away for my retirement. But the government screwed us all over. Every government screws us over. So then they say, well, we need immigrants. And then they had to come up with a slogan. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity makes us stronger. Well, why aren't these screwy Africans, Middle Easterns, third world country people, right? Far East third worlders, South American gangs and third worlders. If diversity is so good, if it makes people so strong, why aren't their countries better off? Why hasn't diversity helped them? I think that's a fair question. Anyways, Boomer, thank you for your great donations. Thank you all for your continuing support. Some people send anonymous donations in, keeps the channel going. Thank you. You know who you are. People come here and ask questions. Thank you. We really appreciate the support. The topics, showing the world that it's not just me, it's not just Oliver, it's not just Jolene, it's everyone here. We all have incredible concerns, and we want our country and the world to be a better place for ourselves, our children, etc. But because it's an uncertain world, because there are lots of bad guys, we say get prepared and prepare for the worst. And as always, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Godspeed to all. Thank you for the scotch, the support, the well wishes, and God bless America. We got one heck of a fight in front of us. I'll see you guys 0 Dark 30 tomorrow. Semper Fi.